50,000 years before the events of Mass Effect 1, the galaxy was ruled by an ancient spacefaring race known only as the Protheans. Even for modern standards, the Prothean Empire was advanced, and yet, at the apex of their glory, they were extinguished. They vanished, only leaving behind ruins and remnants of their technology, leaving their disappearance as one of the galaxy's biggest unsolved mysteries. At least until we figure it out in the games, but you know how it is. In today's Mass Effect lore video, we are of course talking about the Protheans, or at least everything that there is to know about them. The Protheans were an anthropod-like race. They had 4 eyes, each possessing dual pupils. They had 6 nostrils, 3 fingers on each hand, and only 2 toes on each foot. Also, their heads were covered in layered carapaces. Most interestingly in the Prothean body is their ability to exchange experiences through simply touching something or someone. They can recall the experiences of whomever or whatever they touch. This way the Protheans could easily acquire new skills and come to understand, even communicate in foreign languages. Protheans could also allegedly use this skill to communicate with one another, and exchange information using beacons that tuned into Prothean physiology. This sensory ability was formed as the Protheans evolved as hunters and needed the extra awareness to their present environment. From the few specimens of genetic material found by modern scientists, it is known that Protheans had quad-strand DNA structure. I don't know what that means, but it's unique to the Protheans. It's also believed that Protheans could have been resilient to low levels of radiation, due to a discovery that Prothean communication towers produced a small but nonetheless significant amount of ionizing radiation, enough to damage the DNA of small insects. It's fair to say that the Protheans were a very unique race, with some seriously incredible feats of both biological and technological enhancement. But what's known about Prothean history? Very little is known about the actual origin of the Prothean race. The very name and location of their homeworld is not known, and nobody knows for how long Prothean civilization actually existed. However, a communication device discovered on the planet Fel Prime was dated to as early as 68,000 BCE, meaning that the Protheans were a spacefaring race for at the very least 20,000 years. After discovering spaceflight, the Protheans discovered the ruins of a previous spacefaring civilization, the Anusanon, probably as close to correct as I can get it. It's here where they learnt about Mass Effect and developed faster-than-light technology, a discovery not too dissimilar to the one that humanity made when they discovered Prothean ruins on Mars. For centuries, the Protheans used this discovery to their advantage, keeping it a secret from the rest of the galaxy. Meanwhile, they expanded throughout the galaxy using the mass relay network, establishing the Citadel as their capital. Interestingly, pretty early in their spaceflight era, the Protheans encountered a hostile machine intelligence which threatened to destroy them, thus beginning a period known as the Metacon War, which saw the rise of the Prothean Empire. Essentially, the Protheans decided to unite the galaxy's sentient organic life under their banners. The other races were free to resist, but those who tried were destroyed with ease. Fortunately, with those who did not resist, the Prothean Empire was able to amass plentiful forces united under their single cause and held off the enemy machines. While this is what started the Prothean Empire, it wasn't the end. Each of the races assimilated into the Prothean Empire came to think of themselves as Prothean, which may explain why certain Prothean ruins have statues of figures who certainly do not look like, well, Protheans. The Prothean Empire also observed potential up-and-coming species in the galaxy, such as the Asari, Hanar, humans, Solarians, Turians, and Quarians, and subtly interfered with the species they deemed to have potential, thus explaining the outposts discovered near many of these races' homeworlds, though the Protheans understood to keep their interference beyond the subject's comprehension. For example, the Asari god Athame was a guise crafted by the Protheans. This allowed the Protheans to adjust the development of the Asari, for example, giving them the gift of natural biotic ability. Believed by the Asari to be a gift from Athame, this was actually the result of years of Prothean scientific research. Eventually, these subject races would have been given a choice to join the Prothean Empire, however, time was not on the Protheans' side. Around 48,000 BCE, the Reapers arrived in the galaxy, as they had countless times before every 50,000 years to wipe out all sentient spacefaring life, catching the Protheans immediately off guard. The Reapers arrived through the Citadel, immediately destroying the Protheans government from the head down and disrupting the mass relay network. Records on the Citadel provided the Reapers with access to all of the Protheans' data and star charts, which allowed them to effectively track down every Prothean in the galaxy. Furthermore, the disrupted relay network prevented Prothean colonies from helping each other, giving them no numbers advantage. The Protheans were also completely powerless to defend other races from the Reapers' attacks, therefore ceasing any involvement or research into primitive races in hopes that the Reapers would deem them to be too primitive for harvest. Fortunately, this worked, and the primitive races were spared the Reapers' harvest this time. The same could not be said for the Protheans. However, they didn't go out without a fight. For centuries, the Protheans fought the Reapers from planet to planet, sacrificing entire colonies where necessary in order to regroup. However, the Protheans couldn't replace the lost infrastructure and workforce in time, and before long this tactic only proved to be yet another nail in the coffin for the Prothean Empire. At some point, the Protheans did learn of the Reapers' cycle of destruction. They did this through studying the ruins of other previously harvested civilizations. This included plans for the Crucible, a weapon believed to be capable of destroying the Reapers. But in the Prothean attempts to harness Reaper technology, they became indoctrinated and sabotaged their own efforts. And so after centuries of battling, the Reapers killed or enslaved every Prothean in the galaxy. Then they removed all traces of their presence and retreated through the Citadel back into dark space. However, one planet managed to survive, Ilos. The records of Ilos were destroyed in the initial attack on the Citadel, leaving the Reapers completely unaware of the Prothean research team that resided there. To survive the Reaper invasion, the facility went dark and the staff agreed to go into stasis. Vigil was a VI that was assigned to watch over these Protheans in cryogenic stasis and then wake up the staff so that they could begin to rebuild after the Reapers had gone. However, this took centuries longer than expected, and to preserve power to prevent all the pods from failing, Vigil had to shut down specific pods, but before long there wasn't enough left to sustain a viable population, and the Protheans' hope for rebuilding was over. However, around a dozen scientists survived Vigil shutting off the pods, and when they came to, they realised they couldn't rebuild the Prothean Empire, and instead turned their focus to preserving the future dominant races of the galaxy, those they studied. They began working out where the Reapers had come from and how, eventually deducing the connection between the Reapers, the Citadel, and the Keepers themselves, and discovered a way to interfere with that signal that compels the Keepers to activate the Citadel relay. Using the conduit on Ilos, the Prothean scientists travelled to the Citadel and altered this signal. This would hopefully prevent the Reapers from opening the Citadel relay again, trapping them in dark space. Unfortunately, the conduit to the Citadel from Ilos only works one way, and so the Prothean scientists were trapped on the Citadel with no food or water and starved to death. The Protheans weren't, however, completely wiped out by the Reapers, as the Reapers were believed to have attempted to harness the genetic material from millions of Protheans to create a new Reaper. However, it's speculated by Edie that this attempt failed, and so over the years the Protheans were altered into what became known by the modern galaxy as the Collectors. Protheans also tried to survive in stasis on the planet Eden Prime, where near enough 1 million Prothean warriors and their commander Javik were stored in cryogenic life pods. However, indoctrinated Protheans leaked the existence of this facility before it could be properly sealed, and in the end only one stasis pod managed to survive this, Javik's, where he survived for over 50,000 years until his pod was opened by Commander Shepard in 2186 CE. Beyond Javik, 50,000 years after the disappearance of the Prothean race, however, all that really remained for the galaxy to see was their ruins. Some of their technology also survived, though it wasn't always comprehensible by modern races. But there you go, that's a Mass Effect lore video on the Protheans. Thank you all for watching, I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, share the channel with your friends and all that wonderful stuff, that would be super fantastic. And I'll be seeing you all very soon with another video at some point, but until next time, take care and goodbye.